The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody.
Well,
Well,
you have the screen, do you?
no,
Nope.
no, just doing that.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Ah, we got it. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Noyantis User Group meeting. Today is the 19th of October 2020, and myself and John are your hosts. As always, if anyone's got any queries or questions, feel free to raise your hand. We will get the microphones opened and we'll look at the questions accordingly. I always like to quickly start with what with updates and work, what's in progress, and so on and so forth, and then we'll go to questions, of which we've already got two, which is nice. So this last week, you saw the release of ReportControl. I think it was version 4.18. I'm just going to open up the example application. So I'm going to take a quick look here. Okay, let's take a look at this. And we'll take a quick look at the versions. Yeah, so it was 4.18, got released on Friday, and we'll just quickly cover the content of it, just so people are aware. Making my notes for the meeting. Okay, so new option added to Locator to allow for different styles. So I'll demonstrate that in a second. New method. It's missing a comment on there. It's actually a new window control, which is restore default layout. So I will again demonstrate that in a second. So that ties in with restore default layout. A new method was added, sync column properties, and that was I think John. We spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, and what that will do is take a queue entry of a particular column definition and allow you to sync all the properties, and not just a queue entry. Basically, you could modify various different queue entries and call that, and what it will do is ensure that all the columns that are in the report control are in sync to your requirements. So that's what that is. Column sorting now auto detects. The column sorting now auto detected for the ABC browse enhancer. Okay, so the ABC browsers when used as a browse enhancer. What we mean by that is previously you could use a browse enhancer on a Clarion browse page or file loaded. It's kind of irrelevant, and it would enhance it accordingly. But unless you used a column override, the column sorting would not be turned on, because basically that is one of the properties which is per column on the report control. So if you did a column override, and in our example app we did have 2 or 3, then those would take on whatever settings you had in your column definition. But of course, in a standard Clarion ABC browse, or an extended legacy browse for that matter, what you could do is go to the actions of the actual Clarion browse, and on there you had, I think it was enable column sorting. Well, that wasn't being picked up on, so now it is. So basically, it will check the template settings of the Clarion ABC browse, and if that is on, it will turn on the column sorting within the browse enhancer automatically. That's what that item is there. Then we had 2 or 3 bug fixes. The related record wasn't actually keeping the record in sync after a data load. So basically, if you did have any reset fields on there and reset related report controls and so on, that could actually cause you, it could cause the contents to be out of sync on related child controls. So that got corrected. The locate row, that wasn't actually calling the row selected, which in turn means that the related record wasn't also being kept in sync. So that was another bug fix. So those, they're decent fixes to have anyway. So if anyone's on anything less than 4.18, I would recommend you move up to it. And then the biggest was in 4.17, we introduced the built-in facility for save and restore layouts, which was great, but I did actually find a couple of issues on further testing. The simple ones like the addition of new columns and removal of old columns wasn't actually being saved and restored, and so on, or they weren't being applied correctly during the save and restore. That was really to do with if you, at a local level, you'd said use your global settings, and at the global setting, they was being used, and basically at the local level, they weren't being set to the global. So that was the actual issue there. So a simple omission and fix now. And then the main one was this column content could actually go out of sync depending on the order that things have been defined in, and so on. That was quite a serious one, I have to admit. So again, if anyone's on 4.17, I would hurry up and jump to 4.18. Okay, so we'll quickly look at the restore default layout and this sync column properties, which John, I think, will come in handy for yourself. And the locator, of course. So I'm not sure if anyone actually uses it. We started using it more, and there's big plans to take it further. So you have got a locate control. Let me just take that off the screen, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so we'll re-add it. So you've got your report control. If you're using browse enhancers, then obviously you carry on using the Clarion locator. But if you're not using that, then you want the equivalent for the report control. So you've got a new window control. Well, not sorry, you already have the window control for locate. There it is, a locator. We add it to the window, and we say to attach it to the report control, which it is. Fine. And then you've got some new options. Now, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 options, match case during search, match entire phrase exactly, match the start of the phrase, and search backwards. They're standard options, what are provided via CodeJock. But that's not truly, if we go with that, match the start of a phrase, and I'll just show you that in action. It works, but it doesn't quite work as we would expect from a Clarion point of view. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Oh, we reworked the example application as well. So there's a couple more examples in there for users. Okay, so we'll go to the locator, and I'll put it in from order, and I'll type in James, and that's great. It will jump down to James. So far so good, as we all say. That's great. But if I was to go elsewhere and I won't type in James, I'll just type in Jame. Oh, no, wrong. I don't want to type in Jame. I'll type in Keith. Now, there isn't a Keith. There's a Kyle. If I do search, it can't find it. And that's because it can't find the start. It can't find a Keith within that, so it's not going to find it. Now, from a Clarion point of view, if we did that, we would expect it to jump down to that record, because that is naturally the nearest to Keith it can find. So, and the CodeJock control, believe it or not, just doesn't support that functionality, which is a bit of a shame and a bit surprising, to be fair. So what we've done is then we've added what we kind of expect within Clarion. So I'm going to turn that one off, and I'm going to say find nearest value, and that's more Clarion type search. I'm not going to do case sensitive, but of course I could do. So what we've done is we are taking that option, which is really a Clarion type option. These are the standard ones with CodeJock, and we are actually still allowing these to be functional. But if this is ticked, we're kicking into R mode rather than the CodeJock built-in functionality. Let's just find nearest, show you that in action. So once again, we do that. We'll type in our James, which we know works. And we've got our James, great. I'll go up there. I'll type in Keith, which isn't there, but we do have a KY, KYLE, Kyle. We do search, and it will find the nearest it can to it. And the nearest it can find to Keith is Kyle. Okay, so that's the new functionality of that. It does support some of the other options, and it does support ascending, descending. So if it detects that it's in descending order, and I'm going to say find me the nearest to D. And the nearest to D is actually J, because C is lower than D. So the nearest it can find to D is J. So basically it's found descending that if I was to go in ascending order and say find nearest, and of course J would be the nearest there after C. So it does take the ascending/descending into account. Last but not least, a little confusing, so hopefully you're all following. There'll be a test at the end. We have the option of search backwards. So let's just take a quick look at that. So it's a combination. We're going to find the nearest, but we're going to find the nearest backwards. So I'm going to go ascending. I'm going to go C. Okay. So that's the nearest, but it's come up from the back, if you will. So it's come reverse order. So if I was to type in, I think it's code, the first it can find from a code isn't from the top, even though we're ascending. So we'd expect code jock to be the first. Normally, we said search backwards. So the first it can find for a code is the code toolbox. So technically, out of that group of codes, that it finds the last one, not the first one. And likewise, it will work in descending order as well. So again, jump to that. And descending wise, the first it can find descending is code there. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Believe me, because that has to be all hand coded. And it was yeah, it was a bit to get your head around, because yeah, just you have to take all the permutations into account and the case sensitive and so on and so forth. But good news for you guys is it's there and it's working. If you do have multi-column sorting, so I'm just let's put it back to normal. It's going to be hard enough for us to understand what these are. So just find nearest, our regular Clarion type search. Into our locator. Okay, if you have multiple column sorting, so let's say we want it in received order, followed by am I missing? Oh yeah, sorry, wrong key. So it's in received, so it's going to go in this order first, and then within each of these. So for the 24th, we can see there's two. Both happen to be the same now, actually. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go received order followed by subject. So now it's just changed. So within the 24th, I becomes before R. So that's what it's done. The locator will work on the last column that is sorted. So if I was to do, I'll click elsewhere and I'll say find me the nearest to H. And here's the thing which will throw you. R, because we're in that order and we're just searching on H, we're in here, that is actually the first occurrence, if you will. So find S and U is the next occurrence. And we might even have an S. No, but point being is it's going in this order, but you've got a grouping above it, if you will. So it's just a thing to just bear in mind. It can catch you out where if they've got multiple orders. I don't know how many times people use that and so on and so forth, but the control supports it. So the search will work alphabetically, but in the last sorted order. Because of course, if you only had that one column, you did a search for S, then of course that's probably a bad example there. Let's do H. There you go, that one. So any questions on locator? I think we covered them. I think they're kind of self-explanatory. No, good, cool. You've also got, we go across to our save restores. I use that one, it's as easy as any. You've got the built-in save and restore, so we could get rid of a few columns. Let's bring that across to there, maybe that across to there, and so on, and go out and go back in. And we've got there's our, as we left it a minute ago. That's very good. Again, just like the locator, you've got a new window control. And you can just add it to the window, you associate it with the report control, and it's just a button, default layout. So you can hit that, because users will get themselves, a little lost in their layouts, and they'll save and restore, and that's a support call, just waiting to happen, where they go, I've screwed it up. How can I get back to where I started? And it's just a button you can just add to your screen. We're adding it. In fact, Ben is adding it, and Wengel's adding it actually to 2 different projects as we speak. And ours are going to go on our command bars, but it's just a button. Press it, and basically it puts the report control back as per your defined layout in your application. And of course, exiting out and going back in will restore that as you would expect it to, because that is the last saved layout. Okay, I could show you how to add it, but it's a window control. You add it, you right click the actions, make sure it's associated with the report control, and that's kind of it. And it works with the built-in saving and the manual saving, so it's one and the same. Okie dokie. Okay, that's that. I think the last but not least, it's really of an internal, and John, I think it was related to, probably easiest to open the class on that actually. Let me just open the class so I can quickly show you. Actually, no, I'll open it in source code. It's going to be easier to show you in here. There you go, view loaded. So if we look at our column definitions, look at our create columns, and we discussed the new how it's not just this, all of our products are going across to this type of approach, where you can basically define all of the entries, all of the properties, if you will, for a particular column all at once. So the actual template itself is using this same approach and squeezing that bit more optimization out. Well, what you can do is you can maintain that queue yourself. So you might have under a certain condition, John, I know you had on yours, if when they clicked a particular button, you switched the layout and so on and so forth of your report control. Well, now what you can do is just do it via this. So basically, you could go to the column definitions queue, set a few of the properties at once. So maybe you turn the resizable off, or you change the visibility. Just trying to see where the visibility is. It's in there somewhere. There's a few. Anything, I've tried to group them. So the A's, the B's, the C's, so on and so forth. So they are grouped. You can see the I's are together, that kind of thing. So basically, you can control it via the normal queue. You can update your queue several times and so on and so forth. And then you've got a new property, which is the sync qualitative properties from queue. I'll get the method in a second for you, and that will go through the queue and resynchronize, but only the columns where you set the _sync complete to false, because it keeps the track of that internally. So once it's done it updates that to say yes, it's been done. So if you want it to go and change all the properties of a column again, you would go through, change your particular properties, put the column queue back, but before you do, go and set that to false. call the method, and it will go through any of the cues which have changed, i.e. this, and apply all of the properties all at once. So it's much faster. You've still got all the old method calls of set column sortable, set column editable, set column visible. All of those methods are still there and you can still use them. It's just they're not very efficient. So maintaining that queue and then calling, I'm just going to grab you that name. Sync column properties, that is the better option. Okay, so that's that. John, did you have, I think you had 2 questions, did you not?
I did. One of them seems to have resolved itself, although I'm not 100%.
And that question was, because I think that question is related to
that was
possibly
resizing. It was resizing with easy resize with
right, and a
resize
question
and split
resize
with
and
the
split.
property grid on tabs. Yeah.
Well, this is okay. Well, what we've got here on this, because Alejandro said, can we see the command bar with easy resize and split behavior? So, and Bruce, I'm not aware we've changed anything, and Bruce is not aware he's changed anything, but the two
Something.
yeah, but the net
changed.
result for you guys is something has changed, because what was working very well is now no longer working. And neither of us know why, but it's not had any real time put into it yet, if truth be told, because of workload. So I'm just going to go.
Well, I've done some tests.
4.19.
I've done some testing, Andy.
Okay. Yep.
I did some testing with different versions of the resizer and the Noyantis templates. And right now, let's see, I guess they were version 5 and version 4 with little things in between, I guess. The version 4
Version
works
4
of easy resize.
Okay.
Works with, well, you got 419. Yeah, they're up to 502 or something now.
Oh, are they? Right.
That's the one that doesn't work with anything.
I only
It doesn't work with older versions.
I applied these last week. I think Bruce must be on the ball then. I've got my notes here where, let me take a quick look, because for our applications, obviously we update accordingly. And
506 is the latest.
What do you know? Didn't see that, and it's not on my notes from last week, and that was as recent as 15th. And what we're on today, 19th. So okay, I don't know quite how I missed that. But then again, we're not actually using. So okay, so with 4 we're good, but 5 we aren't.
Yes. So with 4, you're good with the new templates you gave me and the old ones.
Well, I'm definitely
going. 5, you're not good with either.
Okay, I'm going to say Bruce. I will have a look and I will point him in the right direction, but that's definitely going to be Bruce who's changed it. Then I'm happy to blame Bruce.
But you remember when I first, like what, 2 weeks ago, I guess? Remember all those controls that were showing up, those blank boxes on my screen? It's like, where'd those come from? That's where it came from. Something with the resizer, and I don't know what.
Well, in fairness, there was another, I think, I mean, obviously I was only joking there and so on, but there was in an old legacy application which we inherited off a developer, literally inherited, he passed away. But on that particular application, we had reports, but we did update the template chain as well, so that might have muddied the waters. But we had reports that the command bars weren't showing. And then Alejandro, a couple of weeks ago, mentioned it on the webinars and so on. And it was the report control, the command bars were working and were there, but they just weren't painted. And you had to move the mouse across to get the actual content to repaint, if you will. So something has changed somewhere, be it in ours, be it in Bruce's. But it is on the to-do list to look at. So let's just take a quick look here. I know you've just said it is working on yours, but in reality, chances are it's probably luck that it's working. So if we do resize and split on here,
Yeah, I'm using 4.2 is what I'm using.
But you're okay on that? You say it's working?
Yeah, it's not putting up those weird boxes or anything like that.
Let's just try on this, because what I'll do is I'll keep this and I'll get the latest resize and investigate and apply accordingly. I know he did some changes. I think it was for any screen, weren't it?
Hello. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Alejandro.
How are you? Hello, John. How are you?
Good.
If you want, I can show you something. Maybe it's help to you to investigate, because I made a workaround to solve this situation. So if you want to see, I can share with you.
Give us 1 minute just to take a look.
Yes. Perfect.
Control strategies. Did I just go a bit trigger happy and move? Yes, I did. Yeah, let's change that proportional. Okay. Looks kind of good. You say it was on a when it was on a tab?
The property grids. Yeah. I have like 4 tabs, and I have a property grid on each tab.
And it's a property grid what's not doing it. Sorry, I thought it was report control.
Yeah, the property grid. When I click on the tab, the property grid would expand to the whole height of the window and cover up the tabs, is what was happening. I had it happen once this morning, and it was really consistent. So I don't know, but I have recompiled, so who knows. Anyway.
Okay. We'll have a property
I had
grid
that
on the same one.
issue anyway with property grids, where I don't make up the full height of the window, and then if I resize the window, all of a sudden they'll go all the way to the top. That's
well, we'll take another
thing.
look. We'll get the latest of bikes as well, because we support Clarions, we support Mike. We support Clarion, we support Mike's resizing and resize. So yes, I'll take a look. So there's our property grid. And then in a second, we'll put it on a tab should we need to. Oh, wrong one. Oh, I never set it to resize. Did look okay to start with there, though, to be honest. I'd have expected that to start having a bleed issue or a size issue. Well, look, it's okay on this, but you say version 5. It's noted. Let me just put property grid.
Yeah, if you were to upgrade, you would probably see issues.
Version 5 issue. So I will check. I will speak to Bruce, and we'll come up with the thing, and sooner rather than later as well.
No, Andy, if only there was a program that kept track of what versions
and
what versions that were available, and alerted you when new ones came out.
I need
something that did that.
I need to update it, because I think you gave me a beta in the past. I need to do that on our release machine, because that's where we put our notes and so on. So the 4.18 the other day I couldn't actually do on update it, so I do need to get the latest off you if we can.
Yeah, I updated the release notes on it, and it automatically sends alerts out. So.
Oh, cool. Yes, if we could. Alejandro, should we have a quick look at yours, and then we'll jump back to John's on to do report control. So, Alejandro, I take it you're still there?
Yes, I'm here.
So, going to make you a presenter. You should have an option.
Okay, let me show you.
Looking at the Skype.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see?
We can, yeah.
Okay, basically, I did the follow. I found this in your example, because the problem is here in the ribbon bar in this case. Okay, if you remember.
Yes, that's what we were getting in the legacy application.
But if you press the set button, okay, you immediately have all the command bar visible. Okay.
Yep.
So what I did, let me show you, is here. The problem is in the post-event sizer. Okay. So actually, I reproduce this set button. Wait a second. Sorry. Caption. Let me see. This one. Okay. Set button. I did in the I said. Here I said. So we have three possible situations. The first one, maximize. The second one, restore. And the third, minimize. Yes. Okay. Right one. Okay.
Okay. And all you did in there is just set a caption.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
that suggests
it's an idea.
Yeah. It suggests it's purely just a repainting issue. So it's taking it's initialized, it's got all its content, and it's doing its commands and callbacks, and all of it is still active and live. It's literally how it's being painted. And now there is some tricks what go on to do with creating them and changing their parentage into group controls that we create and so on and so forth. But they've always worked that way. So what I'm thinking is the recent change, version 5, Bruce is obviously doing maybe some other change, maybe in a different order. And because it's probably the different order, because what you've just seen there, your set caption, literally all that's doing is just causing that control to change part of its print, its visible attributes, and that's causing it to redisplay. So it'll be just something like that. It'll be literally probably an event is in a different occurrence now, or a different order, or it's just not firing at all. So we should take a look. We'll put some debug in. But yes, I don't want to fix it just by putting just a display in. To be honest, what I'd sooner do is find what's truly changed and fix it at that level. It'd be better.
No, of course, I did this because I need to get the job to the customer. So
of course,
So
no, I understand that. I've done it myself.
But maybe it's helped to you to say, okay, maybe it's in this direction the changes, like you are saying.
Yeah, I think I'll it's been a while. I mean, we added that support for Mike and Easy Resize. We added the support before capesoft 2 Culver. So when it used to be Easy Resize and Split, we added the support back then. So that's how long ago we did it. It's got to be a good 7 or 8 years ago since we added that support. So yes, it's going to be something where Bruce has changed it for the any screen. We'll find it, we'll put some debug in, and we will fix it. So yeah, we've got the report control update out, and that was a major update we wanted to get out. Not a major, but an important update we wanted to get out. The next is the docking pane, which is really looking good. So that's our next one, and when that's out, we will get this Resize and Split out as well.
Okay, one question about the report control.
Yeah.
Did you manage something about the triad? Loading the new triad, the data, or not yet?
I've started, but it's not in any releasable thing yet. But no, that I do want, because I mean, you've seen our the scheduling application, and a couple of other applications which we work on, which have got large data sets, you know, the 20, the 30, the 40, 50,000 records. We need that same, so it is coming, but it's just like you said, you've got to get an update out of the door, that kind of thing. So it's just a matter of purely down to time and priority, that's all. But it is coming, definitely, because we like the idea. It's going to be brilliant. So yeah, so it's going to do it, but we want to template it up correctly.
Okay, Andy. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay,
John, come back to you. I'm going to make you presenter, John. And actually no.
No, I don't think you need to make.
No, I was going to say I can take it back, but right, there you go. There's mine. So your second question.
Second question is with the report control, and you open a screen and it fills the report control. Mine is on tabs, so if I click to another tab and then click back, then the report control is empty. There's nothing in it anymore.
So I'm going to
quickly a reset thing or something.
Okay, so I'm going to do view loaded. Where is it? Just want a nice, easy one. Where are we? View loaded. Okie dokie. That's probably based on customers. Yep, very simple. I'm going to put a sheet on there. And then we can just talk. So it'll take 2 minutes. We can talk through what's happening on yours and why this one works and yours doesn't, and what we can do to, you know, ensure you don't have any issue, that kind of thing. That sound all right?
Sounds okay.
Right, so I'm going to put that in there. That's going to be tab customers. And I'm going to have, I'm going to have another tab called inbox. Okay. Let's get that on there. I can go down to the bottom. And I just want another report control very quickly. I'll do. Another very quick report control. There's that many, I can't actually see the report control now. Oh, yeah, can't see for looking. Thanks, Wengel. I see Wengel's paying attention if nobody else is. There you go. I might actually stop attending these and get Wengel to host them. Okay. Very quickly then. Oh, no, not that customer inbox. I think we said. Only because I remember the example's got an inbox. So inbox, we'll choose the ID key because I just want the data in there as fast as possible. That's fine. Happy with all that. We'll choose our columns. Date, time, subject, that's more than enough. And that can be a little larger in fairness to it. Okay. Compile and check it works. I never checked that belonged to that tab. Kind of expected it to. That one? Okay. We've got data on both, as you would expect. You say you've got reset buttons? The resetting?
No. Oh, yeah, they reset.
Nope.
It's because of that switch, or the switch you told me about.
Right, okay. So now here comes the stuff. Right. Let's go to our first report control. as our customers. So I'll just put it in there so we can identify it. Okay, now we come across to resets. You can have reset fields as you would expect. So something along the lines of, we'll just add a local field. Okay, if that's as good as any. Not that I will add it, but you get the idea. So it can just reset off that. In reality, you're much more likely to have it resetting.
I don't have it resetting on anything. It's blank.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's just a
was-
normal reset, as you would expect. But you have got this reset on game visibility.
That's a default.
That's
The default's on, yeah.
on. Yeah, now. And I think that's where your problem's coming. So basically, we know what a reset does. I'll quickly jump into this, which we use all the time, but it'll just help show what the reset on game visibility is and why we're using it. Okay, so I go to the patient. Lots of information on it's related down at the bottom, as you can imagine. Appointments, alerts, correspondence, attachments, medication, patient forms, that kind of stuff. Okay, now, as I go here, I only want to reset just that report control. What I don't want to do is have to go and reset every one of these because there could be loads of data and I'm not interested. I'm not even going to go and visit it. So at this moment, I'm looking at forms, and as I'm going through, that's what I want to do. Okay, so that is a reset on visibility, because now if I go to medication, it's just reloaded itself. Go there, different, nothing. Go back to that, we're expecting a couple of records, go to medication, and it's just reloaded. So that doesn't reload until its parent or its parent's parent, or basically its parentage. As long as its parentage is visible and not hidden, then it will reset itself. So that's the reset on visibility. The only parent which is excluded is the window itself. And so it will allow the window to be hidden and it will still load. And that's for people who purposely have windows, hidden until such time when they're needed to come into focus, that kind of thing. So that's the only parent that is excluded from that list. But that is calling the refresh content. Where is your data being loaded is the key. And that, what can we do to either bring it in line, but obviously you don't want to go through your whole application and go and move a load of code. Is that correct? So the first question would be with, where's your data being loaded?
Well, I manually load everything.
Right, okay.
But it seems to be calling that, like you said, every time because that thing's on it. And the delete all rows is in that.
It does. Basically section. What it's doing is when it gains visibility, via reset, right, or, well, obviously on this one it's visibility, what it's going to go through is going to call the refresh contents. I'm not sure that's derivable. Might be, might not. Yeah, it's going to call refresh contents, which is part of our common class. So this kind of approach is going into all of our products. The property grid will go down the same route, and task panels and everything will go down this route. So it calls refresh contents with a true to force it to refresh. Now the content of refresh contents, what it does is different per product. As you can imagine, property grid has to do certain jobs, task panel has to do certain jobs, report control has to do its jobs. So the content of that is different per product. For report control, it calls data underscore load, which is when it requires data, and the calendar is data underscore load events, that kind of thing. So it calls this. And inside of there, long way around the houses, but inside of there, you will see we've got, is it visible? If it's not, come out. If it is, what's that doing? Data loading, no, forget that. That's just if you want to wait cursor and a control, a bar on the screen to load for you, things like that. But it's that we go off and delete all the rows. We go off and load data. Now we've got this loaded on a view, so it's got a load of code written for us. But in yours, If you're manually loading, you will have that, but you won't have any of this information. Okay. In fact, just if you can just check on yours, John, what do you have in your data underscore load compared to this? I'm guessing you'll have everything above. Tell you what, no, it's all right. We'll do it here.
It seemed like it was pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's add another tab, but this one won't be file loaded. It will be manual, which will be more to enough. Okay. Let's put a report control on there. That'll do. Manual load. That's yours, is it not? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Manual, so we know which one it is. It's meant to do data underscore load actually. There. Okay, so the difference is, does that stuff, does its data load, has a parent call. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try and see what the difference was. Yeah, the other's got a load of code written for us. So that's the difference, okay? And if you had your data in this embed point in the manual, it would work, okay? So we wouldn't have a problem. But for yours, you haven't got your data, and chances are it's just off in another embed point on on whatever the tab switching, probably something like that. So I suppose.
Why would you reset it? Let me ask you this. Why would you reset it if you did not have a field in the reset box?
Because that is.
If this is empty.
Right. So
why would it reset it?
The reset from a field point of view, like that LV, that's exactly the same as the reset within the normal Clarion browse. The only difference is we allow you to give it an ID so you can remove the resets that run to, in your code, which is very hard to do in Clarion. But on ours, it's just a call of remove reset field, and it would remove it. So you can have conditional resets, if you will. So that's the Clarion reset. Okay. Now Clarion's also got that active invisible, which is off by default, and you have to go out of your way to turn it on. And basically, that means if it's on a hidden tab, you don't want it to reset. That is kind of the approach what that's doing there. That's the equivalent of the active invisible, which everyone has to go and do a prop on.
Right. But okay. Yeah, but you turned it on by default, I guess.
I suppose that's the major difference.
Yeah, that was a change between what I used to have and what I have now, because I didn't used to have this.
Yes, it wasn't there. So just to just make a quick note for our resets, if you will. Plus visibility. So basically, that isn't to be confused with the reset fields. Reset fields are just the same as a Clarion browse reset field. This is more the active invisible type thing. So to help you out, because you've already applied this from a template point of view, if I was to set the default of that to false, it's still not going to help you, because you've opened your app and you saved it, and that template setting will now be set throughout. Okay, so if you was to export to TXA, you would have that template setting being turned on. So if I was to change the template now and say the default of that is false, it wouldn't help you, because it knows of that variable from a template point of view already.
Yeah, it's already loaded it up and everything.
Yeah. So that's not. So that is not going to help you. It's not going to help others who might be in the same situation. I can actually ask you to go through your whole app and move data to the data underscore load. Although I might point out that's where you should have been doing the code later, to be fair. But putting that one
I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. I do what I want.
So putting that one aside, we need a workaround of, let's jump into that data under load. We need a workaround to basically, that's not the one I was after, I want the manual. That's, tell you what we've got, that's perfectly fine. It's got some work to do. Agreed? Because it knows it's file loaded, so it knows it's going to go off and do that work. For our RC manual, data under load, underscore load. The only way I think we can do it via code is via the template, get these to be conditional, especially that. That's what's killing you there. So you want it to go through this, but not do anything. It's going to go through it because it's told to go through it. You know, the reset on visible. So it's going to pass through it, but you don't want it to impact your particular thing. So I suppose what we need to do is that code, that. And to be fair, that code as well wants to be conditional. I suppose what we could do is link it, just trying to think, to the source. So not that one, sorry, I just got the same one. On the manual, my machine goes so much slower when we're on the webinar. Maybe on here. If it's manual, give the question, but have it off by default. Do you want to generate the refresh content, so the data load code? I'll have to word it accordingly, obviously, and stuff like that. But then basically have it turned off by default and you turn it on. Through its manual, you really take control of everything manual. That would work for you. That would basically just be a template update, drop it in, compile, and you'd be back to where you were.
Perfect.
So that's about the best way I can think of tackling it. And it's not too, I don't think it's too much of a change for if you manual load to have a question on here. Your opinion, your feedback, anybody else's feedback?
Sounds reasonable to me, but it'll solve my problem.
It'll definitely help you. So yeah, can I point out your little bias there, John? But it would, and I don't think having that question would be the end of the world. Just to pose basically under manual, do you want it to delete and repopulate? Did you want to generate the delete and repopulate commands in data load? Well, it won't just be those commands as we just pointed out, because you won't. That can stay. You won't have that. So that's fine. That's if you've got a record, you're loading 10,000 records, and you just drop a progress bar on the screen and basically say that's part of my reloader. So it will update, will unhide the progress bar, increment it as it's going through your records, and then hide it itself afterwards. So, and the same with the wait cursor, things like that. So we can keep them. That's no great hardship to you. I think it's that, because it saves what row it's currently on, deletes its content, and then after it would have loaded, it repopulates to the screen and restores your selection, which is what you had here, the save. After that, it's just a matter of reprocessing and rebuilding should it need to. So basically all of those can just go under a condition. I think that's I know it's the crudest, but it's also the simplest and easiest, and kind of easy for people to understand as well.
I vote yes.
You vote yes? Okay.
Everybody else do this.
Probably asleep. Then I will drop that in. There's actually a little change going in to the report control in the morning, even though it's literally just had a build of 4.18. I'll give you the scenario, as we always do. It's not in this application, it's arose in another one, but it's Wengel who did the legwork and debugged this morning and so on, so thank you very much, Wengel. Ultimately, the reset, imagine, if you will, this is record Okay, that's record number 1 for argument's sake. And it's first time in, this reset is saying load only for where it's got a filter on there, range limit, to say only load for record 1, and it does it accordingly. Now you go out of the screen, so the first time in, your record buffer of this is empty, so that's fine. It's 0 when it comes in, and then it's 1 after it's done its loading and it's got its children, so it knows its parentage is 1, and it keeps the reset of 1. You then go out of the screen, you come back in, and that has still got its old record buffer with 1 in it. So that it's resets. Basically, it says it's 1 when it goes in. It doesn't. It is 1 at the end of it. It doesn't see a reset, so it doesn't load this second time in, because why should it? Nothing's changed as far as it's concerned. Whereas truly, it has changed. So basically, it's processing. The upshot is it's processing its resets before it's fully initialized. It's the bug. And so on. So I need to quickly do that in the morning. So as I do that, and I need it for a project for this week, which is good news for you, John. So as I do that, I will push that same change into this at the same time. It's just a new template switch, and have this conditional generate on the switch. So it's that template change, famous last words, is literally about a 10-minute change. That code's just the conditions of that code being generated. That's all it is. That's good news for you. So by the time you up and online and up an atom tomorrow, drop me a quick message, and I should be in a position to just send you an update, just the report control only.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Yes,
I think we've got that. That works. I don't mind the solution too much, because I think it's it's fine. You could argue, if I'm manually loading, why are you manipulating my report control, i.e. deleting the rows and restoring the rows? The only thing I would say there is we always did have the intention for you to load the data in the data load, but in days gone by we never actually had that embed point either. So you can see how it's evolved over time. So how you put your code in one place, then this got added, and so on and so forth. So yeah. So that's it. So yes, so that's the answer to that. Oh, just 1 second. People going?
I was shocked. I'm telling you, I was shocked when I saw
that. Not quite sure. Just 1 sec. Sorry about that. Okay. So I think we're more or less there. I know Leo. Where is he? He was here before. Did I have a hand up? I thought we had a hand up.
Yeah, his hand was up. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I haven't seen a question. I checked the question. Leo, are you there?
Regarding this release, have you done anything on drag and drop in ReportControl?
Even in the example application, but it's commented out, not commented. Sorry, it's disabled. But the example does have the drag and drop procedure in there. And where are we? Drag. There you go. Drag and drop. And it has some example where I want you to be dragging from a Clarion control into a report control, from a report control into the Clarion control. Sorry, I started to put code in here, and we've got an issue on the initialization where on the notes. So on the drop, it's having a look what its source is and adding some stuff accordingly, that kind of thing. So we've got an example, but it's just not quite working. I know you've been waiting a tremendous amount of time and so on, and we are close, but it's not quite there. I will try this week for you, Leo. That's all I can really say. Oh, sorry. See you, Engel. I will try for this week for you, at least to see why it's purely down to initialization. I just don't think it's initialized in the actual IDs below the surface, because once it's initialized, the code is in there to actually do the to internally set the drag content and the drop content, but yeah, it's not doing it at present, and I think it's down to just the initialization. So, but the example app, you can see we started to allow for it. There should be Did I do it manually in this one for now? Let me have a look. I can't actually remember, I'll be honest. Set the car on that. The list. No, must be on the extension. Because you have new come on, new tab. There you go, drag and drop. Enable the drag and drop. So you can see we started to put it in. Record drag is its and car drag is its drop, because it wants to be able to drop it into. Sorry, you can't run it. What an idiot! Sorry, you want, and that's the record drag. Yeah, you can drop there from record drag, and you can go from car drag onto there. So that can drag from there, drop onto this. That can drag from there, drop onto this. That's what we're working towards to demonstrate. And what it will do is not just one. As you dragging a row, it will actually have a look at multiple rows, just in case you wanted to highlight 5, 10, whatever. You know, say, let's just say multiple selects. Let's just show you. I suppose you can do it in this one actually. Yeah, so you can highlight multiple rows. There's a better one which shows you the selections. Sorry, it won't be a second.
Okay, but are you thinking about drag and drop between two report control?
Of course, yes, yeah, it will. There, current selections. So basically, watch this here. This is showing you what's selected. So if I go up and down, you can see which row is selected. Mm-hmm. But of course, you could also go that kind of thing. So now I've got various different rows selected. Okay, so it knows on that. So on the drop, what you'll be able to do is, you know, code it yourself, obviously, but it will tell you, right, these are the rows. This is a list of rows that you need to be dropping into another control. So yes, we've said, let me just move that one there so we keep that at the back of your mind. But here, you could have multiple records selected, and when you drop there, you're not just dropping one record, you want to drop information from several records, i.e. these. So you'll be able to go through the selected queue, i.e. you can see that message is built up from various different rows. If I were to take, you know, let's say just them 4. Okay, and that's basically what you'll have with the drag and drop. You drop that there and it will know what 4 it wants to. Then you could go off and say, okay, now drop that and do the action accordingly. So on this, it's going to be something along the lines of, in the drop, that needs to loop actually, not just current row. It needs to look through the selections. So I do need to rework that. But it will work exactly. It will just loop through the selected rows and go off and get some information out of that. So it will build the notes up from multiple selections from the report control. You'll do exactly the same with another report control. So you'll say, right, I've got 4 rows selected and I'm dropping them into another report control, and I will include an example for that for you, just to you know, to so easier for you to copy. But it will be really, really simple, I promise.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know John's done drag and drop in his app, but via Kojok's drag and drop. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, quite. So the control itself includes drag and drop, but it is purely report control to report control, and that's it. And I just know from Clarion experience, as a third party provider experience, I should say, that won't do you guys. The very first release, people will say, yeah, but I want to be able to drop them over here, maybe on a notepad. A better example would be into a calendar. Okay, I've got lots of roles and I need to drop them into the calendar because I need appointments for them, that kind of thing. So they will want to drag from one entity into another entity. So that's why I'm doing it that approach rather than just a pure Kojok to report control to report control.
Okay.
So, but I promise it's so bloody close. I hate to think about it. It's so close. I will have a go at finishing. It's just time. The better day this week, I'll be honest with you, because we have a structure. Our deadline day internally for our project development is Wednesday evening. Okay, so Wednesday evening is our cutoff for our sprints, our weekly sprints. Thursday morning, we set our milestones for the next week, and you've got a bit of breathing space where you just catch your breath, because you can imagine Monday and definitely a Tuesday and Wednesday are very busy from a project point of view. Thursday morning, you do a bit of planning, you catch your breath a little, and then you carry on the dev for the next week's sprint. So Thursday is probably the better day to catch us. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. And you just got an insight on how we work on our weekly sprints. Okay, right. I think we're there. We're a little 1 hour 10. That's fine. That's acceptable. Until next week, John, by all means, drop me a quick message. I'll pass you 419A tomorrow with that in. And if Leo, for your patience, as a matter, if I can just manually do the initialize so I can see it working, because I'm sure it's just an initialization error. I really am. If I can do that, and even if it's just a manual example, then I'll chuck half an hour or an hour at it in the morning just to see if it is that. It should be init drag.
Okay.
Where is that? Oh, that's Chloe and hanging on me. Typical. But I think basically there's lots of initialization steps which we've covered many times in the past. The init prepare, init prepare, init template settings, init complete, and there's a few others on the way. Init security, init resize, but one of the other inits is init drag and drop, and I don't think that is being called. And because that's not called, none of the other code inside is actioning because it doesn't think it's in use. So I expected it to work, and it didn't, and I think it's literally because the initialization is just not present, and it should be. Okay, right. Chloe's hung on me. That's the perfect opportunity for me to restart it, but I'm going to wrap up the webinar. The video will be posted, might even be this evening, because I'm going to stick around and do some more application development. Until next week. Thank you very much. Oh no, I'll be on the Wednesday one. Should you need a top up, there you go. Until then, I'll see you all soon. Okay. Cheers. Speak to you tomorrow, John.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Leo.
Bye. Thanks.